well as anybody in the league.
Well, they may be playing the best football in the NFC. Everybody talks about the Giants being 7-0 coming in this week and the 49ers being 7-0. But the Bears are playing better football than those two teams because each week they're getting better. And the reason is their quarterback, Jim Harbaugh, is playing consistent, error-free football. They got the great defense and ball control, but it's Jim Harbaugh that makes the difference.
Tampa Bay comes in with a 4-4 record, but they slid through October at 1-3.
Well, and they're coming off two very bad losses. The overtime or the close loss to the Dallas Cowboys, and of course that thrashing to the San Diego Chargers last week. A lot of pressure on Coach Ray Perkins. Remember, his owner, Hugh Culverhouse, said that the team will be 11-5. Right now they're 4-4, and the toughest half of their season is coming up.
It is a muggy afternoon in Tampa. 82 degrees, winds out of the east at 6 miles per hour. 53%, partly cloudy. It is clouded up in the last hour, but there at the moment appears to be no threat of rain. Mike Ditka's team 6-1. The Bears have equaled the number of wins they had in all of 1989 when they fell to a 6-10 record. They have a 2.5 game edge over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Buccaneers won both games between these two teams last year. They won here when the Bears were 4-0 in a thrilling game, 42-35, and then even more thrilling in Chicago, a come-from-behind victory, 32-31. Tampa Bay won the toss. Danny Peebles, Reggie Cobb, and Harvey are deep. Kevin Butler will kick off. Danny Peebles, the second-year man from North Carolina State, boom down as he gets to the 17-yard line. Vinny Testaverde did not play in that loss to San Diego last week. Turf toe on his left toe. That injury occurred in a game 2 weeks ago against Dallas. Having his best season as a pro, and he is joined offensively by Gruber, Carl Bax, Randy Grimes, Ian Beckles, a rookie from Montreal, Rob Taylor. The tight end is Rob Hall. Gary Anderson and Reggie Cobb in the backfield. Mark Carrier and Danny Peebles starts for an injured Bruce Hill, who is inactive today. Testaverde has thrown just 4 interceptions in the first 8 games. And Frank Pillow is in the starting lineup instead of Peebles. Here's a toss to Gary Anderson. Fumble! And the Bears have recovered at the 24-yard line. Jim Morrissey, number 51. A Tampa Bay team that turned it over 7 times last week in losing to San Diego.
Well, Ray Perkins says that there's the most important stat is turnover ratio. Right now, the Bucs are at -2 on the season. Anderson has a nice hole here. He gets hit right from the side. Mark Carrier with the helmet right on the ball. And now it goes under Gruber. And Morrissey comes in from the left side. And the Bears have the ball inside the 25-yard line. Turnover on the very first play from scrimmage.
Last week in winning over Phoenix on the second series, Mark Carrier intercepted a halfback pass, and Chicago went only 20 yards for their second touchdown. Jim Harbaugh at quarterback from the 24-yard line, 1st and 10, Neil Anderson on the sweep with Thayer in front, in trouble, and cut down for a loss. At the 29-yard line, tackle made by Broderick Thomas. Offensively for the Bears, Covert, Bortz, Hilgenberg, Thayer, and Van Horn. James Thornton is the tight end. Harbaugh is joined by Anderson and Muster in the backfield, Wendell Davis and Ron Morris, the wide receivers. 2nd down and 14. The ball officially at the 28-yard line. Two wide receivers to the short side of the field. Draw play. Anderson bounces to the outside. A couple of missed tackles before he is down at the 22 by Broderick Thomas, number 51. Defensively for Tampa Bay, let's check the lineup. Reuben Davis, Tim Newton starts for Kurt Jarvis, who's on injured reserve. Jim Scow at right end. The linebackers, perhaps the outstanding part of this Tampa Bay Buck defense. Thomas, Marv, Moss, and Murphy. And in the secondary, Ricky Reynolds and Wayne Haddix are joined by Mark Robinson and Harry Hamilton. From from the 22. 3rd and 8. Motion on the left side. Flags are down. Harbaugh, they're going to whistle the play dead. Dale Hamer, the referee, giving chase as Broderick Thomas was in Harbaugh's face. But they'll call 5 yards on Chicago.
Number 74 of the offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
Jim Covert.
This is really unfortunate for Covert because he's on the left side of the screener, number 74. What you don't see is the defensive man was coming across the line of scrimmage, and that's Broderick Thomas. So Covert is trying to protect his quarterback, got off a little early.
Bears went through that Phoenix game last week with only 1 penalty in the entire game for 10 yards. Greg Landry looks on, the offensive coordinator. It'll be 3rd and 13. No score, opening moments of the game. Bears recovered a fumble from Gary Anderson on first play from scrimmage by Tampa Bay. 3rd and 13. Harbaugh calls timeout. Game clock had wound down. They were going to take a delay penalty if he didn't call the timeout. So Mike Ditka and Jim Harbaugh will chat about it. When we return, Chicago will have a 3rd and 13. Just over 12 and a half remaining first quarter. Bears with the first offensive threat of the game, having recovered a fumble at the 24. They now look at a 3rd and 13. What do you think, Dan?
Well, I really think that Mike Ditka would be extremely happy with 3 points in this situation. What he doesn't want is to give the Bucs life and have them dodge the bullet of Gary Anderson's first fumble here. Look for some type of draw play to Gentry or even Harbaugh on the quarterback draw.
Gentry lines up as the lone setback. Neil Anderson splits out wide to the left side at the bottom of your screen. That is Anderson in motion. Harbaugh on a half roll, under pressure, hauled down, fumble. Tampa recovers. They are going to call Harbaugh in the grasp. And if you watched the NFL today, you saw Dan Fouts' discussion about the in the grasp rule.
Well, it shouldn't be called in the grasp rule. It should be called in control rule, because you can't have control unless you have grasp. Well, the grasp part of it is really redundant. Let's take a look at it. The pressure comes from the bottom of the screen. Number 51, Broderick Thomas, with his great speed, outruns Covert to the quarterback. That's a fumble. There is no control there. That should be Tampa's ball on the 32-yard line. The officials continue to blow this call week after week.
Even Ditka doesn't like the call. He was a beneficiary of it here. And the kick is wide right by Kevin Butler.
Well, justice is served, because with the missed field goal, the Bucs will take the ball where they would have gotten it with the fumble recovery. So maybe the football gods are watching here in Tampa, and they're trying to straighten out this controversial sack rule by the referees.
Fourth quarter score, San Francisco hangs on to a 4-point edge. Here it's a 0-0 ball game, and as Dan points out, final score, the Raiders lose for only the second time. And Washington mounting a comeback. Danny Peebles is in the lineup on this first down play. Buccaneers fumbled on their opening play of the game. Testaverde into the flat. Caught Reggie Cobb, the rookie out of Tennessee. And he's got yardage to the 40-yard line. Cobb, a second-round draft choice. Didn't start the first 2 games, but then has come on since then. Ron Rivera makes the tackle. Trace Armstrong, Perry McMichael gets the start for Dan Hampton up front. They'll rotate the tackles. Linebackers are Rivera, Singletary, and Jim Morrissey, who recovered the fumble. And the secondary, Stinson and Jackson. Donnell Wolford is injured, and they are joined by Gale and the rookie Mark Carrier. Second down and short, straight drop back. Across the middle, incomplete. Pass intended for Ron Hall, the tight end.
Saw a bit of a changeup for the Buccaneers with their offensive alignment. They came in with a tight end, a second tight end, rookie Jesse Anderson, and went with just the single back. And by doing that, what they're trying to do is create a weak side naturally for the Bears. And what Testaverde will do, he'll go to the line of scrimmage, check out how they're aligned, and he may call the play right there from the line of scrimmage.
3rd and 2 in a scoreless first quarter. 3rd and 3. Audible by Testaverde. And he'll throw on 3rd and short, perhaps. Fumble. That ball is still floating free, and Gruber gets it. Paul Gruber recovers for Tampa Bay, but the Bucs, who self-destructed in San Diego, show early signs of the same disease back home in Tampa.
Yeah, this is grasping control of a different nature here. Testaverde's just going to drop this ball by himself. It'll hit his right thigh, and he's real lucky the Bears didn't pick this one up and just roll it right on into the end zone. But we've had 3 fumbles here early in this ball game. Maybe partly due to the late start. Maybe it's because of the tensions are high whenever the Bears come to town.
Mark Royals is on to punt. In his first year with the Buccaneers, Johnny Bailey waits for it. Bailey, who's been an adventure returning punts, has it bounce at his feet, and they get an extra 6 yards stacked to the 39-yard line. Testaverde gets to face Ray Perkins and explain the fumble. Time has been called. Florida, and those gorgeous pictures from up on top are being taken by the MetLife blimp. Captain Mike Fitzpatrick and Joe Whalen are piloting the MetLife blimp for today's game.
And it's just as beautiful here in Florida as it looks. A lot of bad weather throughout the country. How did we get so lucky, pal?
Oh. Here come the Bears for their second offensive set. In the last 2 ball games, both victories for Chicago, they scored on 4 of their 5 first possessions in each game. Well, they misfired on their first. See what they do from here on out. That's Ron Morris in motion. Harbaugh with a play fake and a little screen pass to Neil Anderson, who's got Bortz in front. And Bortz with a block. A first down across the 50 at the 47. Tackle made by Mark Robinson. Gain of 14.
A lot has been said about the Bears' new offense. Well, this is part of it. Watch the play action, and this is a screen pass off of play action. Really well designed by Greg Landry. As you'll see, when Neil Anderson turns around, there's not a buck anywhere near him. He's got Bortz out in front, jumps through the crack, picks up about extra 5 yards.
That gives Chicago a first down at the Tampa 47-yard line. Jim Harbaugh, 6 touchdowns, only 4 interceptions this season. He had 1 last week against Phoenix. Blitz is coming. Nice hot pass out into the flat, but an excellent defensive play by Mark Robinson, number 30, on Brad Mustard.
What the Bucs have in Mark Robinson, their strong safety, and Harry Hamilton, their weak safety, are 2 of the most intelligent players in the league. Robinson knew that he had his linebacker Broderick Thomas coming on the blitz. The hot receiver was his man, and he was there for the tackle for a loss of 1 yard even.
What is it about Penn State? I mean, Hamilton and Robinson, both from Penn State, they do have very bright players who come into the National Football League.
It's Joe Paterno. Simple as that. Demands intelligence. 2nd
and 11 for Chicago. No score. Opening quarter, James Thornton is the motion man. Fake the draw. Harbaugh lets it go into the flat again. Brad Mustard has the catch short of the first down at the 39-yard line. It's Harry Hamilton, number 39, on the tackle this time.
When you get scouting reports from teams, you'll see that the Bears are probably the best team in the league at running the play action. And that's because they run the ball so well. Number 1 rushing team in the league. They've rushed for more yardage than they've thrown for. So this is almost a game plan unfolding in reverse. You're seeing them throw the ball off the play action without even running the ball yet.
In the last 2 weeks, this Chicago Bear team on offense, an astounding 67% of their 3rd down conversions. Well, they have a 3rd and 2 here. They lead the league in 3rd down conversions over the season. Play fake again. Harbaugh, nobody open, but he can scramble, and he does for the first down plus.
I remember talking to Mike Ditka about Harbaugh and what he liked about him. He said he reminded him of a lot of Roger Staubach. Watch the Roger Staubach-like moves here after the play fake. Nowhere to go, open field ahead of him. And now this is that guy Mark Robinson we just talked about. A little swivel hips there, almost too much shake as he shakes himself down on the own tackle. Now, does Harbaugh get credit for the first down and for a tackle as well?
I think he should.
You bet.
Well, another example, Dan, of the intelligence that Harbaugh has brought to that position. He didn't force the throw, and he got the first down inside the 25. Second time Chicago has been here. No score, opening quarter. This time they test the middle. Big hole to the 12-yard line. Neil Anderson tackled by Harry Hamilton.
This is where the Bears are going to have success today running the ball, is straight up the middle. Linebackers of the Bucs are very good at pursuit, but the Bears feel when they can have Anderson follow Mustard, that they can get Anderson into the secondary for big yardage.
Neil Anderson leads the NFL in all-purpose yardage. That is first down offense in the last two games, 7.2 yards per play. When we say all-purpose yardage, that's passing, pass receiving, and rushing. First and 10, Bears. Cap Boso, number 86 in. Anderson cuts back, bounces off the initial hit, but the tackle is made at the 8-yard line by Kevin Murphy, number 59, the outside linebacker.
Not only is Anderson leading in all-purpose yardage, he's also leading in respect of players around the league and of coaches. It seems like every coach we talk to about Neil Anderson says the same thing, that he is the best all-around back in football. Well, what does that mean? It means he does all three things that a back is required to do, and he does them very well. He runs obviously very well, catches the ball out of the backfield very well, and he's an unselfish team player, and that shows up in how he blocks for his quarterback and for his running mate, Brad Mustard.
Double tight end set with Bozo and Thornton on second down. Play fake. Nice fake by Harbaugh. Into the flat, too hard for Brad Mustard. Well, Mike Ditka said a couple of weeks ago against the Rams that this guy, Harbaugh, had shown some touch that he hadn't seen before. He needed a little more touch on that pass.
Well, if you watch number 51, Broderick Thomas, he'll get in the throwing lane here, and this causes this ball to just go a little bit too far in front of Mustard. Perhaps Harbaugh could have waited just a little bit longer, but you can see the impatience there and the anxiety of the quarterback seeing his man getting close to that goal line and wanting to get him the ball as soon as possible.
Another third down. Mentioned that third down stat a moment ago. In the last two games, 16 of 24 on third down conversions for Chicago. They're 1 of 2 in this ball game. They'll hand it off to Mustard, who fumbles. Tampa's got it. It was Gentry instead of Mustard. And Kevin Murphy with a recovery. John Cannon.
You know, the Bears are on a team that fumbles a lot. They came into the game only fumbling about 4 or 5 times and only losing 2 of those fumbles. Already we've seen 2 fumbles, and they've lost both of them. This is that draw play off the trap blocking. The play is made inside by number 59, Kevin Murphy, and John Cannon is there for the recovery.
Last week, the Bears fumbled 4 times but lost none to Phoenix. For the season, they had lost only 2 fumbles all season. And Tampa Bay takes over. Gary Anderson out to the 14-yard line. Ball of 9. Gary Anderson, who a former teammate of yours at San Diego, sat out all last season.
And you wonder about Gary's mental state after fumbling the first carry that he had. But that ball was fumbled because of a great hit by Mark Carrier. It had nothing to do with the way Anderson was carrying the ball. That's just one of those perfect type of hits where the helmet meets ball and the ball is loose.
Second and 5. Steve McMichael makes the tackle of Reggie Cobb.
Now, for the Bucs to win this game, it's going to be number 14 that wins it. Vinny Testaverde has got to prove to everybody here that he is capable of beating a team like the Bucs. Of course, like the Bears. Of course, he had that success last year, but now, coming off those 2 disappointing losses where the expectations were so high, it's important for this guy to show that he's the leader and he can bring this team a victory against the Bears.
3rd and 5, scoreless first quarter. Testaverde escapes McMichael, and now he'll run for the first down, and he slides down just short. Oh, boy. He slid into second base, and he needed to go beyond it. He's going to be a yard short of the first down.
These are the type of mental errors that people talk about when they talk about Testaverde. This is where he's got to sell out, dive, do anything he possibly can to pick up the first down. Comes up with the hook slide, and Perkins wants to know about it. A lot of mistakes early in this ball game.
Unexpectedly. Mark Royals will punt for the second time. Johnny Bailey waits for it at the 42. That one bounces and takes a lateral hop out of bounds. And again, Chicago with excellent field position. Testaverde explaining the slide to Perkins. Hasn't had an enjoyable chat with him yet.
Here's an indication of a quarterback not really realizing his advantage here. Testaverde outweighs Vesti Jackson, number 24, by 30 or 40 pounds. He could have plowed right over him, picked up the first down easily.
And the Bears, for the 3rd time on offense, they had a field goal go awry from 50 yards, lost a fumble inside the 10, but terrific field position here in quarter number 1. Ron Morris starts in motion. The toss. Anderson coming to the left side. Muster trying to help with a block. He gets Jim Scow out of the way, but the tackle is made by Eugene Marv, number 99.
I think what we'll see on this drive is the Bears going back to Bear football. I mean, give the ball to Neil Anderson, get Bortz and Thayer out in front. Let's forget all this trick plays, this play action. I mean, you can almost hear Ditka saying it, can't you, on the sidelines? Let's pound it right at him. Our best play has been a run that went right up the middle with Anderson behind Muster.
Well, this is a team that averages 173 yards per game on the ground. That by 20 yards is best in the NFL. And they had 223 last week in their victory in Phoenix. 223 on the ground. 2nd down and 6. Harbaugh, straight drop back. Fumble! That is 3 fumbles in the first quarter. Tim Newton forced this one.
Tim Newton is number 96, and he is starting for Kurt Jarvis because he's got a bad neck. There he is at nose tackle, working against Hilgenberg. And Hilgenberg, in all fairness, is not back up to 100%. Fine job there, and that was a good call by Dale Hammer, our referee, because this ball is clearly a fumble. Before Harbaugh can get it moving forward, Thayer heads up, recovers for Chicago.
A Chicago team that fumbled only 6 times in the first 6 games, or rather 4 times in the first 6 games, has fumbled 3 times in this quarter. Harbaugh escapes Broderick Thomas, looks for blocking help, and is out of bounds at the 50. It'll be 4th and 11. And this sellout crowd of 74,000 applauds the defensive effort of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
And well, they should, because they are really keeping the Bucs in this ball game. Tampa's offense has turned it over a couple of times and come up short, but the Bucs defense has just put a lot of pressure on Harbaugh and shut down things down the field.
That brings on Maury Buford for the first time. And Willie Drury, number 87, is back to return it. So 3 times inside the 50, twice inside the 10, and no score for Chicago in this first quarter. Nice high punt by Buford. That is a dandy inside the 20. We'll see where they spot it. At the 16-yard line. Buccaneers get it back, but they're 84 yards away following that fine 34-yard Buford punt. We have played most of quarter number 1 in Tampa Stadium. It has been unusual, to say the least. No score, 1:10 remaining in the first stanza of play. Buccaneers get it back, but they have had it a long way from the goal line. They've averaged getting it at their own 19, while Chicago 3 times now has had the ball an average of 40 yards away from the Buccaneer goal line, and they've yet to score. Testaverde, power sweep. Anderson cuts it back and is in turn cut down by Jim Morrissey, number 51.
Important for the Bears to get good pursuit on Anderson, but not over pursue, because he is excellent at cutting back against the grain there. Everybody must fill their lanes and keep their eye on him. I remember playing with him in San Diego. After I handed the ball off to him, I made sure I kept my eye on him, because he does some remarkable things. I'll never forget that dive he made against Miami that had to make everybody's highlight film. He took off from the 7-yard line and landed about 6 yards deep. Asked him on the sidelines, "Are you okay?"
Just a little dizzy from the somersault.
I tell you what.
2nd down and 8. Backs are split. John Bruin in the offensive backfield now. There's a pass across the middle to the tight end, Ron Hall, but that is short of the first down at the 24-yard line. Hall, who started off in the first 2 games with a 27-yard per catch average, has settled down a little bit now.
Wild first quarter, a couple of turnovers, and that's the type of game you'll get when you play your biggest rival, as Tampa calls the Chicago Bears.
They will switch ends of the field. The long trot by Mike Singletary and the Bears. That's the end of quarter number 1. The end of the first quarter with our score: Chicago 0, Tampa Bay 0. Dan Hampton prowling the middle of that Chicago Bear defensive line. They confront a Tampa Bay offense now with a 3rd and 2. Buccaneers trying to move out of their own end of the field. Scoreless game as we begin quarter number 2. Vern Lundquist along with Dan Fouts. Testaverde out of the shotgun. Randy Grimes over the ball. John Harvey is in the backfield. Here's Testaverde off his back foot, incomplete. Off balance throw. And the Bluebirds make another appearance at Tampa Stadium.
Well, Testaverde felt the blitz coming, but he's got to ignore it completely and throw this ball with some accuracy. Of course, one of the great middle linebackers is coming at you, but you got to stand tough there and defy that pass rush and throw the strike. And Testaverde is off to a rough start here so far.
4th down again, and the Bears should get good field position again. Johnny Bailey is back. Waits at the 32-yard line for Mark Royal's punt. That is returnable. Bailey on the run. Returnable, but not far. Johnny Bailey, who's averaged 7.7 yards per return, is tackled by the tight end Jesse Anderson. A 2-yard return of a 38-yard Mark Royal's punt. Well, this is the worst field position the Bears have had. They've squandered 3 opportunities, missing a field goal, losing a fumble inside the 10, and then having to punt.
You know, getting back to Jay Hilgenberg and him not being up to 100% strength after suffering from a stomach flu last week, says he lost about 10 or 11 pounds. He's as light as he is now. Right now, is the lightest he's been since 1983. Needs a new belt.
Yes, he does. 1st and 10. Harbaugh, play fake. Chased. He's been sacked twice already. Caught Neil Anderson, and the gain will be near midfield.
Yeah, he makes a catch about 7 yards from the line of scrimmage and gets a blast from Tim Newton. Picks up an extra 3 yards there, flying through the air.
Talked a little bit about Neil Anderson. He's been complimented this year by Brad Muster, number 25, who is having his best season. Muster with 300 yards. The touchdown ratio is a little diverse. 10 for Anderson, 1 for Muster. But Muster has the better yards per carry average. And this time he'll block for Anderson. That's a 1st down Chicago at the 48-yard line.
Of those 10 touchdowns that Anderson has scored, 8 have come on the ground, and he's picked up 2 through the air. Jimbo Covert's a little slow getting up on that left side.
And a little gimpy legged as he walks back to the huddle. No score. How about that Washington comeback? They trailed 35-14 at one point in that game, and the Eagles exploded over the inept Patriots. 1st and 10, Bears. Mustard in motion. Anderson drives it inside the 45, just a fraction or so thereof.
You talked about all the yardage that the Bears gained last week against the Phoenix Cardinals. Well, their offensive line was named as a group as the NFC Players of the Week, and that's about only the 2nd time that a group has been named that. Ironically, last year in the Bucs-Bears first game here in Tampa, the Bucs' entire offense was named Offensive Players of the Week.
That is a Bear offensive line intact since the Super Bowl victory in 1986, January of 86. Every other offensive starting position is occupied by a different soul. 2nd and 6. Mustard works his way to the 40. That is short of the first down. It'll be 3rd and short again. Tackle is made by Reuben Davis, number 79.
That's real typical fullback type of running there, though. Mustard got hit about 2 yards before he actually landed on the ground. He complained to me yesterday that I called him not so nifty last week against the Cardinals. Well, Brad, that wasn't a nifty run, but you got the job done.
Nifty as in swift.
Well, he's not real swifty either, but he's not doing too bad.
3rd and 2. Big hole. This is nifty. The longest run of his pro career for Brad Mustard, 28 yards.
All we have to do is talk about him. This is nifty and it's swifty. Look at the nifty move right here. And now he breaks into the secondary, and that's pretty good speed there. He knows he can't get all the way to the end zone. Gives a little limp leg there and gets down inside the 15. But a great run for the Bears, Brad Mustard.
Brad Mustard had a career high of 99 rushing yards last week. Dan and I asked him if he had a bonus clause for a 100-yard game. He said, gosh, I don't think so. I better check.
I know he doesn't have one for a 99-yard game.
1st and 10 from the 13. Mustard again. Good block from Mark Bortz. And then a clearing push on the left side. Touchdown, Chicago. Oh, did Bortz clear out a couple of bucks.
The timing is just perfect. Mustard just kind of slides around behind his blockers up in front. Watch the timing. Bortz out in front, number 62, the cut down block there. He sets up Morris on the outside, accelerates, uses his strength, pulls 2 Buccaneer defensive backs into the end zone. Touchdown, Chicago.
2nd touchdown this season for Brad Mustard. Butler's extra point is up and good. So on the 4th chance they've had in the first half, the Bears drive it in. They lead by 7. Possession overwhelmingly in Chicago. So is the total yardage. They have overcome the turnovers now, and Brad Mustard gets the touchdown. And not surprisingly, Dan, they get this 7-0 lead by keeping on the ground and controlling the ball.
Well, 5 of the 6 passes were runs, and Mustard really carried the mail that time. But that's when the Bears have been successful this year. It's been when they've been running the ball, and Anderson and Mustard have really contributed.
So Chicago is up 7-0, having squandered those early opportunities. They now have a 7-0 lead, and Chip Lohmiller's field goal in overtime capped an amazing Redskin comeback, and they hand Detroit another defeat and stay alive chasing the Giants 41-38. Butler kicks it off. Picked up by Danny Peebles. He's got great speed if he can get to the outside, and that's a fine open field tackle made by Mark Carrier, number 20, a return to 15. Coming up next week, the NFL Today begins at 12:30 Eastern Time. And the NFL Today will be followed. It will be followed by, golly, by a doubleheader. Atlanta, Chicago. Dan and I will be there. Phoenix, Buffalo, Tampa Bay, New Orleans. And game 2, most of you will watch the undefeated Giants go out west to take on the Los Angeles Rams. The Giants off this Sunday. They play tomorrow night. And off at the middle, a flag comes flying down after a modest game. And here's Dale Hamer.
Holding. Offense. Number 69. 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
That's John Bruin, who's been working at right guard, number 69. John, who's had a very difficult week, lost his father to complications of the liver, and he was buried in Knoxville, Tennessee just on Wednesday. John Bruin, a former starter. His dad was only 47 years old. Second down and 20. First down and 20 for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Danny Peebles, number 83, starts in motion. Gary Anderson. Mike Singletary over the back and makes the tackle at the 25.
This is what makes Anderson so difficult to get a hold of. He has good vision, but his moves are so sharp. The cut to the outside. Now Carrier really has him formed up right here. There's the shake, the acceleration, and he goes right through Mark Carrier's tackle. And Carrier has really developed into one of the best tacklers in this league in just his first year. He's already caused 5 fumbles so far this year.
Second down and 12. Testaverde straight drop back. Richard Dent takes the inside rush, and that pass is woefully short. And Vinny Testaverde favoring his right elbow after the throw.
Well, he's real lucky that he's not favoring his entire body, because he might have had to make a tackle on this pass if he throws it properly. Dent is number 95, coming right up the middle on Vinny, but he steps up into the pocket and he gets his arm hit just as the ball is being delivered by Dent. And here's a case where Dent causes his own player to miss an interception there. If he doesn't do anything to Vinny, Morrissey might have a pick.
Third and 12. Blitz coming. Testaverde, but he doesn't slide this time. First down, Tampa Bay. He is not an immobile quarterback at all, even though he's 6'5".
Yeah, but what I'm seeing here, Vern, is a guy that's not real confident. He looks like a scared rabbit back here. He's looking at the pass rush right now, finding a place to run, stepping up into the pocket. He's not concentrating down the field. He does make a nice run because he's not a bad athlete, but he's got to be down the field with his concentration.
Anderson on the surge over the right side, picks up 9. Sean Gale, number 23, with a tackle. And they will bring the chain out to see if he got the first down.
That was real good patience by Gary Anderson that time, staying in behind his blockers to the very last minute and then diving forward to the right up to the chains, close for the first down.
That's short. And Ray Perkins will go with a double tight end set now. He has sent Jesse Anderson into the ball game.
You know, one of the great things about following the Bears around the country, as we have done so far this year 4 or 5 times, is they have such a strong following just about everywhere. And about 20 to 25,000 of this crowd of 74,000 are wearing the blue and orange of Chicago.
Last week in Phoenix, they had 72,000 on hand, and 40% were Chicago fans.
Maybe even more afterwards.
Yeah. Randy Grimes, number 60. Veteran center over the ball. 2nd and 1. I formation. Play fake. Testaverde goes deep left side for Peebles, who took an inside route, then came back outside, and Vesty Jackson had good position. Donnell Wolford, of course, is out with an injury. Suffered last week. And Jackson is playing at right corner while Lemuel Stinson goes over to the left cornerback spot.
That's not a bad play selection by Ray Perkins, but everybody's been doing that for 30 or 40 years now, since Bart Starr started doing it back in the 60s, throwing on 2nd and short. I'm sure that Vesty Jackson was well aware that the Tampa Bay Bucs might go for a deep one.
3rd and 1. 7-0 Chicago. Reggie Cobb, he's got the first down at the 43 of the Chicago Bears. Buccaneers excited everybody when they got off at John Roper with a tackle. Tampa started with a 3-1 record, but they have lost games that certainly on paper they were not favored to do. They lost twice to Dallas, once to San Diego, blown out by them, and this is the first team they've met with a winning record.
And that's a sign of a team that is immature. They have a lot of young players on this team and a lot of free agents, but they're playing to the level of their competition instead of staying at a high level. They will play well today because the Bears are a good football team.
1st and 10, Tampa Bay. 7-0, Bears lead it. Cobb is stuffed in the backfield. No gain. Dan Hampton, number 99, makes that tackle. It'll be 2nd down and 9. The first 4 Tampa drives garnered only 30 yards. They've equaled that total amount on this drive. 2nd and 10 officially now. Blitz coming again. Testaverde this time sends it way up in the air, and Mark Carrier can't get there. Again, they work on Vesty Jackson.
Interesting talking to Mark Carrier of the Buccaneers yesterday. He expected to be going against Lemuel Stinson at the right corner position because he normally will line up, as he did that time, on the left side. That's a case of maybe not reading your scouting report or maybe not even reading the newspapers, because Chicago said early in the week that Stinson would go and take Wolford's spot on the other side and that Jackson would go to his normal right corner spot.
Well, this time he's going to go over to the right side, and he will find Lemuel Stinson over there. Says he wants to work on Lemuel Stinson and get him out of his back pedal. Testaverde across the middle, tipped, intercepted, picked off by the Bears. Here comes Sean Gale, still on his feet. And Vinny Testaverde, hampered horribly in interceptions in previous years, throws only his 5th of this season.
And Sean Gale picks up his 2nd of the year, and that's because the ball was thrown high. Another symptom, if you will, of Testaverde's career. A lot of interceptions off of tipped balls. This ball, it goes right off the hands of his tight end. Actually, that's Mark Carrier, and Sean Gale is there for the interception.
So that turnover keeps the score. Chicago 7, Tampa Bay nothing. Buccaneers have had problems in the last 2.5 weeks. 12 giveaways. They've gone from a +9 turnover margin going 4-2 to a -10. 5 turnovers in losing to Dallas, 7 in losing to San Diego, 2 already today.
We have so many statistics, but that one there is the most telling, directly related to winning and losing.
Chicago up 7-0 with a 1st and 10. Backs are split. Ron Morris in motion. And off up to the 41-yard line where Broderick Thomas makes the tackle, number 51. Neil Anderson.
And on the other side of that turnover coin are the Bears, and they are +10, and that's 2nd to the New York Giants. So you got a 7-0 team and a 6-1 team. Need we say more?
Chicago got the touchdown from Brad Muster, number 25. On a ground-oriented drive. They now have a 2nd down and 7 from their own 41-yard line. Take the pitch. Muster works at left tackle over Jim Covert's block, and he's out to the 44-yard line. Reuben Davis ranges down the line and makes the tackle, number 79. Just to underline the emphasis on turnovers, the Giants at +12, Chicago now +11. That includes this game. Kansas City winning today, Buffalo with a winning record, and in the lower part of the pack, Tampa Bay now -2. Those are up to date. 3rd down. Chicago 2 of 5 on third down conversions, and they face a 3rd and 4 here. Bucks look like they might be blitzing. Moss jumped and got back. Harbaugh under pressure, caught by Wendell Davis. That is his first catch since the 2nd week of the season. Number 82, Wendell Davis. That's only 4 for the year. Bothered by an injury, he missed a couple of weeks.
You know, in watching the two quarterbacks here, watch how Harbaugh feels the pressure, but he stands firm in the pocket. Thomas coming from the right side almost gets to him, but Harbaugh stood firm, strong, threw a good pass to Davis, and the Bears have a first down.
Gain of 15 to the Tampa Bay 41-yard line. Harbaugh, who hit his first 6 in the first half last week, now 5 of 6 for 46 yards. Play fake. Harbaugh. Ron Morris tries to make a leaping one-handed grab and can't quite. Morris, who had a 67-yard touchdown grab last week.
And that's where the Bears really want to hit you and hit you deep, is off the play action, going for the throat, so to speak. The Bears have had tremendous success throwing touchdown passes off of that type of action, where they fake the ball to Anderson and throw downfield to Morris. I think about 5 of their 7 touchdown passes have come off of play action passes.
We talked with Greg Landry before the game about that. He said it has been indeed a key part of their arsenal. 2nd down and 10. Landry, the offensive coordinator of the Bears. 7-0. Chicago leads it. 4-man rush by Tampa Bay. Harbaugh. And a little circle pattern by Wendell Davis. He looks for a block and gets it. And Davis fumbles the ball. 2nd time in the ball game, the Buccaneers have gotten the ball on a Chicago fumble inside the 10.
Wendell Davis, number 82, hasn't played a lot recently, and this may be a cause of this fumble. Gets in a crowd here. Nice block by Neil Anderson, but watch how Wayne Haddock's number 45 strips the ball, and then Broderick Thomas gets the recovery. But obviously Davis wasn't used to being in a crowd like that.
And on the first down play for the Buccaneers, Gary Anderson gets a short carry. There's Wendell Davis. As we said, he'd been injured for a while.
And that's really tough. He's coming back after a series of hamstring problems. He made a nice catch on the play earlier in the drive. Here he appeared to be going for a touchdown, and he gets a turnover out of it instead.
Testaverde goes with a 2 tight end offense now. Jesse Anderson, number 89, is the motion man. The toss goes to Reggie Cobb, Ron Hall, and Ian Beckles try and supply the blocks, and Cobb picks up only a couple of yards. It'll be 3rd and about 5.
I wonder about Perkins' choice of personnel on that type of play there. Here he's got the 2 tight ends in there. Anderson comes over with the double team on Ron Hall, and instead of pitching the ball back to somebody with tremendous speed like Gary Anderson, the ball goes to Reggie Cobb, who is a rookie and doesn't have the speed or explosiveness of a Gary Anderson.
And that results in a 3rd and 5. 7-0. Bears lead it. Testaverde, short drop, picked off again. Mark Carrier with his 3rd interception of his first year in the league, and his 2nd in as many weeks. There is, of course, a Carrier receiving the ball for Tampa Bay, and now a Carrier receiving the ball for Chicago.
And Perkins is looking at this replay right now. Testaverde comes out there and throws the ball way too soon for Danny Peebles, and throws a perfect strike to Mark Anthony Carrier of the Bears.
And here is Mark Perkins watching the play a moment ago.
A lot of marks in there, Vern.
Ray Perkins. I'm thinking Mark Carrier.
Got you, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
Thank you.
Mark one down for Testaverde. That's his 2nd interception. 1st down and 10 at the 22. Play fake. Harbaugh chased by Thomas. Settles for Muster. And Muster has a 1st and goal at the 2-yard line.
Again, it's play action for the Bears. Fake of the run to Neil Anderson across the formation. Harbaugh's mobility out behind Muster. Here's a nice little touch pass. Nobody in the way on that one. And now the big guy's got the cone in sight and gets right down to about the 2.
What are the odds on Neil Anderson on this next play?
Well, let's look for
What about the fridge?
Well, the fridge is on the sidelines. Maybe they're saving him for a must-win situation.
Bozo's in, backs in the eye, 1st and goal. Anderson, that's his 9th rushing touchdown of the year.
Well, watch the explosive cut by Neil Anderson right there, and then north and south, heading right up the field into the end zone. Watch on the right side, Van Horn with the kick out. Nobody in the middle for Tampa Bay, and Anderson's got 6.
Butler with the extra point. And as they did a week ago in Phoenix, the Bears go a short distance for their 2nd touchdown of the game. That view from high above Tampa Stadium from the MetLife blimp. Tampa, the first stop in Florida for the blimp, having just completed a 7-month, 30,000-mile media tour of the United States as the sun sets here in Florida. Chicago kicks off quickly. Butler has it bounce and picked up by Danny Peebles. Flag is down. They're going to bring that one back on Tampa Bay. Illegal block. Bruce Perkins, number 32, is going to be the guilty party. And what has been a confused Tampa Bay offense takes the field again.
Illegal block. Number 32 on the return. 10-yard penalty. 1st down.
Take a look at this. John Roper's number 55. There's the illegal block in the back by number 52. And that's the rookie, Keith McCants.
As opposed to 32, Mr. Perkins.
Who I thought it was, and I will take the blame for pointing on the old board. You know, I've thrown 200 interceptions, Vern, in my career. I'm a veteran at taking blame.
Yes, but you also threw for 47,000 yards in the positive direction.
43.
Oh. But who's counting? 2.5 to go.
Frank Tarkenton's counting.
Anderson out to the 16-yard line. Jim Morrissey makes the tackle, number 51.
You wonder about the play selection now for Tampa Bay. Perkins, who calls all the plays from the sideline there, knows his quarterback is struggling. He's going to his next ace in the hole, and that's Gary Anderson.
Testaverde into the flat, incomplete for Anderson. Wow, he's having a shaky first half. We are at the 2-minute warning. The Bears have scored 2 touchdowns, and they lead it 14-0. 2 seconds shy of 2 minutes to go in the first half of play. 3rd down and 5, Tampa Bay. Thus far in the first half, Vinny Testaverde has completed 2 to the guys in white, 2 to the guys in deep blue, and he's missed on 8 altogether. 2 of 10 for 13 yards.
And they're on the 16-yard line, backed up on a 3rd and medium situation.
Shotgun formation. They'll hand it off and keep it conservative. Gary Anderson, and that'll be a punt for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and it draws the wrath of this crowd.
Well, the Bears ought to call timeout right now.
You bet they should.
And there they do. They let about 4 seconds get off the clock before they called their first timeout here in the first half.
But they will get it back with 1:45 remaining. On the Bear offense getting ready for their final opportunity of the first half. In contrast to Testaverde, Harbaugh has hit 7 of 8. And now Mark Royals is on to punt. Royals, who was a much-traveled young man, he had tryouts with 4 different teams before sticking with Tampa Bay this year, and has been very effective for the most part. needs to be that right now. And that is returnable by Johnny Bailey at the 50. So Chicago will get it back only 41 yards away after Sam Anno is downfield to make the tackle. A 32-yard punt and 9 on the return.
And a real good 9 yards, because what he did is he went straight up the field and got as much as he could. He didn't try to return it all the way for a touchdown by himself. He gave the offense field position on the 41-yard line, so the Bears, to get points, a field goal is only 10 yards away for Kevin Butler, a touchdown only 41 away.
Chicago leads it by 14. Morris and Wendell Davis both go to the left side. Gentry also in the lineup. He's lined up wide right, and that is James Thornton, the tight end, in motion. They'll hand it off to Neil Anderson on the sweep with Bortz in front. And Thayer gets a block, so does Bortz. And Anderson is out of bounds to stop the clock.
Vern, you're right. He got 2 great blocks by his guards, but James Thornton came by in motion and really makes the block on the left side of the screen. He seals the Sandman, Broderick Thomas, inside, and that allows Anderson and all that speed to pick up about 6 yards and get out of bounds.
Anderson with 38 yards on the ground now. Second down from the 34-yard line. Second down and 3. Same formation, same motion. Harbaugh this time, diving catch. Nope, incomplete. Thornton arguing his case. Playing with a black shield over his helmet for the second time in as many weeks.
Well, and you know that referee probably knows that Thornton's nickname is the RoboCop, and you don't get a nickname like that by making diving catches.
Thornton will go out on 3rd and 3. And the clock shows 1:25 remaining in the first half of play. Out of the shotgun. 14-zip Bears lead. 5-man rush. Harbaugh in trouble. Fumbles again. Tampa Bay recovers. Reuben Davis, number 79. The second fumble of this half for Jim Harbaugh.
This is outstanding pressure from Tampa Bay. Harbaugh really has no place to go as he steps up into the pocket. Number 59 is Kevin Murphy. He causes another fumble. And there's big Reuben Davis with the recovery. And the Bucs dodge that old bullet.
The Bears squandered their first 3 scoring opportunities in the first quarter. They lose another one here. And the turnovers total 6 in the first half. The ball has been on the ground an inordinate amount of time. 14-0, 1:18 to go before halftime. And the Bucs have all 3 timeouts left. Anderson in motion left side. That pass into traffic, ill-advised, as Carrier and Morrissey were much closer to the ball than the intended receiver.
Well, Testaverde went back there and he said, I'm going to throw it to Carrier, and that's about it, folks. I don't care who knows it. That's going back to the way he played when he threw those 35 interceptions 2 years ago, zeroing in on a single receiver and not reading the defense.
Abysmal numbers for Testaverde. 2 of 11 for 13 yards and 2 interceptions. McMichael at left tackle this time. Looping by the Bears, and it's picked off for the 3rd time in this half, and the 2nd time by Mark Carrier. Oh, mercy. Interceptions in the first 7 games in which he played. 3 interceptions in this half, 2 by Mark Carrier.
Well, watch Testaverde. He goes back and he says, I'm going to throw it to one guy, staring at him all the way. The one guy falls down. That's Peebles. Carrier makes an easy interception, and the Bears now have a chance to go down and get points with 1:06 to go.
Mark Carrier, 2 picks in the first half.
Tampa is dodging bullets, but they're bullets being thrown by their own quarterback.
First and 10, Chicago. 66 seconds to go in the half. Mustard out to the 50-yard line. Reuben Davis with the tackle. Well, sloppy is not too strong a word.
Interesting that the Bears are allowing the clock to run down now. It looks like Ditka is just going to play for the field goal. To get a 55-yard field goal or so, they need to pick up about 15 yards.
If he's even playing for the field goal. See what kind of pass routes they run here. Yep, they are. Harbaugh for Ron Morris. Good coverage. And Morris makes the grab. Oh, boy, Ricky Reynolds was stride for stride with Morris. And Ron Morris leaped inside to make the catch time call. A 37-yard grab from Ron Morris sets up for Chicago Bears some kind of score at the very least.
This is excellent coverage by Ricky Reynolds on Ron Morris, but watch Morris look for the ball a split second before Reynolds does. Stops, hops, and makes the grab. Looks a lot like Jerry Rice and Anthony Carter. And then he got down on the ground. Did you see that? Protecting the ball, knowing that his team is in at least field goal range.
That is the last Chicago timeout. Officially a 38-yard game from the 12, first and 10. Harbaugh with all kinds of time has to settle for a release valve. And Anderson is hauled out of bounds at the 12, no gain. Broderick Thomas makes the tackle. And they used another 8 seconds, 21 seconds remaining. Broderick Thomas, whose uncle, Mike Singletary, the outstanding linebacker of the Chicago Bears. Broderick Thomas's mother is Mike's sister.
Well, I asked Mike if he had any advice for Broderick, and basically his advice was, listen, Broderick, never forget where you come from. Fame and fortune is going to come and go with the wind. Remember your roots and just what you're all about.
Second down and 10. Harbaugh looks for Thornton in the end zone. Caught. Touchdown. He took out Thomas and a photographer. And he was looking for James Thornton from the time the ball was snapped.
Now we saw Ron Morris do his Anthony Carter and Jerry Rice imitation. Well, RoboCop there looked a lot like my ex-teammate Kellen Winslow with the beautiful catch in the back of the end zone, getting his feet down for another 6 points for Chicago. And I can't believe it, but it looks like they're going to review it. We'll take a look at it. Fine throw by Harbaugh. Throws it with a lot of touch and yet enough pace. That's easy touchdown.
And he had possession after he went out of bounds. Well, he made the catch, and then it's a touch as soon as he's established position.
And he beats the Sandman, Broderick Thomas, for the touchdown.
If there's a question, Dan, I don't think it's whether he had his feet down, it's did he have possession, but I don't think there's enough evidence to overrule that call.
Well, another problem is we get into is slow motion and real motion.
Time.
Yeah.
Jack Fetty is the replay official today. Let's look at it in real time. Boom, boom, out of bounds.
In real time, it looks like a touchdown.
Yep.
Now, they have 2 minutes to make this decision. And the question is, when does that 2 minutes start? In about 3 minutes from now, maybe?
Well, it is supposed to start the minute the replay officials notify the umpire that they are reviewing a play.
That reminds me of grasp and control. Give me just one shot at the rules committee, will you?
Okay. Greg and Terry coming up with scores and highlights at halftime, which we thought was just a second or two away.
Well, you know, I have a 2-minute sundial, but with all these clouds and the sun going down, I'm out of luck.
I think we've gone beyond the 2-minute time. Now, we will be told, of course, that we haven't.
But of course. We got a reversal, according to Tampa Bay.
Well, supposedly that's incontrovertible evidence.
We have a reversal. We have a reversal. It'll be third down on the 12.5-yard line. Third down on the 12.5-yard line.
Jack Fetty overruled it.
And I'm sure that Fetty believes in his mind that this isn't a touchdown. But you wonder if this is Kellen Winslow and a guy with Hall of Fame credentials instead of a fourth-year guy like James Thornton, if he doesn't get the call here. There's the slow motion. The catch. Oh, that's awful close, but Bears still have a shot at it. Third down with 15 seconds to go.
Third and 10 from the 12. We are told that the ruling by Jack Fetty is that his feet were out of bounds. Possession was not the question. His feet were out of bounds. Harbaugh. That one's incomplete, and that'll bring on Kevin Butler.
Again, a good job by the quarterback, not taking his team out of taking points away from them. Harbaugh's had a rough first half with a couple of fumbles, but he has thrown the ball and made good decisions in the pocket.
Kevin Butler has kicked one field goal in each of the games played thus far. He misfired from 50 earlier in the first half. And this kick is from 30 yards out. Butler 11 of 15 for the season. Like Konzak with the hold. So after the reversal by Jack Fetty, negating the touchdown by James Thornton, Butler gives the Bears 3 instead of 7.
You know, I'm looking at his hands. The officials in the booth next door are looking at his feet. Okay, let's look at his feet this time. There's the grab. There's his left foot. There's his right foot. That's a touchdown if his feet are in.
Yeah. Left foot, right foot, and then a foot out of bounds.
There's the first foot.
One,
is the right,
two.
and the
That's
left
a
foot
touchdown.
is the second foot. That's a touchdown. Amazing.
Grace. 6 seconds to go in the first half of play. 17-0 Chicago. Indisputable visual evidence necessary to overrule the call. 17-0. Vinny Testaverde, who has had a horrid first half, will be on the field offensively for one play more.
And you know, if they got rid of instant replay, would we really miss it?
The fans would. I really think so. I know you wouldn't.
They don't have it in college football, and college football is as popular, if not more popular, than this game, baby.
Do you feel strongly about this either way? Here's the kick returned by Danny Peebles. And Testaverde will not have a chance to unlimber the arm because that is the end of the half after James Rouse makes the tackle on a 40-yard return. The end of the first half with our score, Chicago 17, Tampa Bay nothing. Halftime settling in, or ending here in Tampa, Florida. The sun is setting. The Chicago Bears still shining, however. They lead at 17-7. Sun still in the process of setting in the west here in Tampa, Florida. Chicago enjoying a 17-0 lead as we get to halftime. For just about that long, it was a 21-0 lead. They got there by virtue of what we thought was a James Thornton touchdown, Dan, just before halftime. But it was overruled by Jack Fetty. We'll look at it again.
Well, the officials on the field called it a touchdown, so that means that Jack Fetty in the replay booth had irrefutable evidence, or one of those lawyer type of words, that Thornton was not in the end zone. His feet appear to be down. 1-2 right there. He appears to have possession, but from this angle, watch the play that Broderick Thomas makes with his right hand to pop the ball out at the very last second. There's the swipe. He doesn't get it there, but he brings it back up, and that knocks the ball loose. And you got to give Broderick Thomas a lot of credit.
Well, it'll provide food for a lot of conversation both in Chicago and Tampa Bay, but the score was wiped out. A field goal forthcoming, and it's 17-0 now. Chicago really has owned this ball game, though.
Well, they have, but they've had a lot of help. 4 turnovers by Tampa Bay. 3 Vinny Testaverde interceptions, and Testaverde's only completed 2 passes to his own team. So a lot of credit has to go to Testaverde for keeping the Bears this 17-point lead.
223 total yards for Chicago in the first half. And their average start, because of the turnovers, the Tampa Bay 45. They have scored 10 of their 17 points off those turnovers. Let's check how the quarterbacks have done respectively in the first half. Harbaugh 9 of 14. He got a 6 of 7 start, 136 yards. Testaverde 2 of 12 for 13 and 3 interceptions after having thrown only 4 in the first 7 games in which he played. Steve Christie will kick off. Johnny Bailey and Dennis Gentry are deep. It'll be a touchback for the 15th time this year. Steve Christie, who replaced Donald Igwe-Buike as a free agent at the beginning of the year, and that is the 15th touchback in this, the 8th-9th game for Tampa Bay, and they had only 12 all of last season.
And to put that into perspective, 1 out of every 3, the team takes over on the 20.
Jim Harbaugh, consistent and conservative, and that is not the case with Vinny Testaverde thus far.
Well, you wonder if Perkins will make the switch to Chris Chandler.
Chandler played last week in San Diego. He was acquired, of course, in the offseason from Indianapolis after Jeff George was acquired by the Colts. Chandler threw 4 picks last week. Here's Anderson on the sweep. And it's a gain of just 2 as Wayne Haddix got down low to make the tackle. Number 45. And 17-zip as the Bears continue a road swing. They're back home next week against Atlanta, but then they've got 2 more on the road. They were at Phoenix last week, so 4 of 5 in this midseason stretch away from Soldier Field. They go to Denver and Minnesota following their home game against Atlanta next week. From the 22, 2nd down and 8. Short drop, good protection. And Brad Muster pulls up a little short and lets it go through his arms.
That was excellent coverage by the Buccaneers secondary. They went basically to a zone there and shut down Harbaugh's first target. And he really fired that ball to Muster. Really didn't give much of a chance.
Dennis Gentry, the 3rd down specialist for the Bears, comes in.
Real important for the Bucs now to shut the Bears down and cause them to punt on the next play or get some type of turnover here. They got to get some momentum going for their offense.
And we have seen Chicago with an inclination to kind of sit on a big lead.
As they did last week against Phoenix.
Yes. Here's Harbaugh, pulls up. Little relief valve to Anderson. They gained 41 on that play last week. Same kind of improvised pass. Time they pick up 13, but more importantly, a 1st down.
Well, this is getting a little scary, Vern. We just mentioned the word Phoenix, and this, if you recall, was very similar to the very second play of the game last week against the Cardinals. Harbaugh starts to run, gets that shut down, sees number 35 all alone, and Anderson picks up the 1st down.
At the 35, as you look from overhead, 1st down and 10, Chicago. They have only outscored their opponents 57-50 in the second half by 1 touchdown. Here's Harbaugh deep for Thornton. Can't hang on. Required just a little more loft to get it over Eugene Marv, number 99.
And what Harbaugh is saying is, come on, RoboCop, use 2 hands on that ball. Do whatever you can. You're not going to catch many balls with 1 hand. Please, please dive for it. Do something. Drives a quarterback nuts when their receivers only stick up 1 hand to try and catch the ball.
Unless his name is John Jefferson and he's at the end of the end zone, right?
Yeah, he could do it. Well, I tell you what, he caught a lot of throwaways that threw.
2nd and 10. 17-0 Chicago. Play action again. Harbaugh, deep left side. Throws it for Ron Morris, and Harry Hamilton was right there to break up the pass. It'll be 3rd and 10.
You know, the Buccaneers defense has played very well today. They've caused 3 turnovers by themselves. Harbaugh has had 2 knocked out of his hand in the pocket. So they're playing better than the score would indicate. It's just that their offense continues to turn the ball over and put them in bad field position. The field position in that first half, there was like a 38-yard difference between where the Bears took over and where the Bucs took over.
3rd and 10 from the 35. Protection for Harbaugh is excellent. The pass is caught by Dennis Gentry, and he's got another Chicago first down, and a flag is dropped after the tackle is made out of bounds.
And I think they're going to get Rodney Rice for roughing.
Unnecessary roughness. Number 31 of the defense. 15-yard penalty. First down.
You know, it's 3rd down. Who are you going to go to? You know, who are you going to call? The Ghostbuster? You're going to call Dennis Gentry. Watch this grab. Close coverage by Wayne Haddix. Gentry makes the grab. Now he's trying to get a little bit extra. An extra effort by Rodney Rice gives the Bears 15 more yards. And a couple of flags. That's bad when the referee throws a flag and hits the guy that is called for the penalty.
Not much doubt about who it's on.
Yeah.
Rodney Rice gets flagged for it, the second-year man from Brigham Young. First down at the 31-yard line. Muster. Brad Muster inside the 25 to the 24-yard line. Tom Zach, Peter Willis will act as a shield as Tom Zach flags in the play. That's Greg Landry to the right, and James Rouse, who was supposed to be a part of this formation, hurries on. Number 4. Got their system down yet?
No way.
4 means Rouse in, Muster out.
Well, yeah.
Brad's limping a little bit. So James Rouse, number 30, is in. Brad Muster limping a little bit as he went to the sidelines. 2nd and 4. Opening drive of the 3rd quarter of play. Rouse with the carry. And he is dropped or stopped near the 21. That might be close enough for the first down. Eugene Marv, number 99, with the tackle.
Just short, but you know, every time Muster goes to the sideline with any type of nick or injury, I'm sure that most Bear fans hold their breath because he has had a history of back problems, and he is playing hurt 99% of the time. So that makes his contribution even that much more remarkable.
9th play of the drive coming up, 3rd and 1. Opening drive of quarter number 3. Chicago leads it by 17. Bozo in motion, quarterback keeper, first down Chicago inside the 20. When you look at Tampa Bay, they're down 17-zip in this game. They're 4-4 now. Their owner Hugh Culverhouse predicted 11-5 record for Ray Perkins, or 12-4 perhaps, and it doesn't get any easier. They've got to go on the road now for the next month.
They've got 3 on the road against the Saints, the Niners, and the Packers. And as you look at the standings, a Bear win today, and that's 3.5 game lead.
Chicago with a 6-1 mark. Ray Perkins' team in danger of falling under 500 for the first time this year. They are playing, of course, the 5th place schedule, but it hasn't helped them. They lost twice to Dallas and once to San Diego.
A couple other 5th place teams last year.
Yes. 1st and 10. Harbaugh with the play fake. Off his back foot for Gentry, who adjusts and makes the catch. Mark Robinson is claiming that there was interference.
Just a little sleight of hand by Gentry. We saw Morris do the same type of thing at the end of the first half. Harbaugh stands in the pocket real strong, realizes he has single coverage on the outside. He knows Gentry's a big playmaker. Throw it up in the air, let him go make the play. Gentry cuts inside. Touchdown, Chicago.
Butler for the extra point. It's bobbled, and it hits the upright and comes back. That's the first missed extra point this season for Kevin Butler and the Chicago Bears. A bobbled hole, 23-0, 10:05 to go, third quarter. Here it's 23-0 as Chicago continues to roll over an imploding Tampa Bay team. And Danny Peebles again picks it up on a hop. Gets loose. One man to beat. And Kevin Butler does save the touchdown at the 45-yard line. A 47-yard return for the second-year man from North Carolina State.
This could provide the spark that the Buccaneers need because it'll give them excellent field position. A short kickoff. Good job of Peebles finding a little crack in the wedge and then outrunning the pursuit, getting to the outside. And now watch the fine job as Butler pins him against the sideline, waits for help, and makes the tackle. But a huge return for Peebles.
Peebles has had 5 kickoff returns for 128 yards now. Kevin Butler, as he has been most of the year, very short with the kickoffs. Pitch to Gary Anderson, looks for a block, and Reggie Cobb gets a good one on Sean Gale. And Anderson is out of bounds after scooting down the sideline inside the 40-yard line.
You notice Gary has one glove on his left hand and no glove on his right hand. I asked him about that before the game. Why? You know, obviously, what'd you do? Forget a glove or something, pal? He said, no, I started doing this back in San Diego. My right hand was getting so cut up that I wore a glove on it, but it got better. But then I started to get a little superstitious. I felt I needed to have at least one glove on.
Second and 4. Testaverde picked off for the 4th time in the ball game. And here comes Richard Dent with his second interception of 1990. Richard Dent, a 16-yard return, and Vinny Testaverde has equaled the number of interceptions in this game that he had for the 1990 season. It's 23-0, and Chicago has the ball again.
A lot of interceptions. Watch how it affects the defensive line. Dent does not get a good pass rush. He sees the back coming out of the backfield. Now watch the great catch. One-handed snag. Those big tacky gloves pay off for Dent, and he looks like a tight end. 4 interceptions for Testaverde, 2 completions.
1st and 10, Chicago. Jay Hilgenberg over the ball. Play fake on first down. Harbaugh into flat. Brad Muster. Neil Anderson, beg your pardon. And he makes the grab. And that should be good for another first down. Up overhead in the darkening skies, the MetLife blimp. It's based in Kissimmee, Florida. Kissimmee, Florida.
I was wondering what you were saying, pal.
That was not an invitation.
Don't worry.
That, you know, I should quit practicing these town names. I did that a while ago. 1st and 10, under 9 minutes to go. Oh, boy, when it's 23-0, you never know what's going to happen. Brad Muster with the ball down at the 32-yard line. Reuben Davis makes the tackle. 49ers stay undefeated today, 24-0. New Orleans with a big win on the road.
But, you know, the 49ers, again, they struggled. They did win their 14th straight road game, but they struggled. The Bears, on the other hand, the last 3 games right now, up to this point, they've scored 102 points and allowed only 30. They are playing the best football in the NFC.
Well, if you heard the NFL today earlier, you saw the debate perhaps between John and Terry. John Madden and Terry Bradshaw about the Giants 49ers, which is best. And Dan and I were chatting in the car coming out of here. We'll vote for Chicago.
Well, they didn't ask us to be in that debate.
That's right.
Getting around election time, we're not even, you know, on the deal. And we got the winner.
That's short of the first down, a gain of 5 on the last play. So the Bears, Mike Ditka said, we've gotten here with ball control and sound defense. And we've seen examples of it today.
Yeah, and on the other side of the field, you wonder about the stubbornness that Ray Perkins is famous for. He should give his quarterback the hook, give him the rest of the night off, put the second guy in there, Chris Chandler. But you know how stubborn Ray Perkins can be. It wouldn't surprise me if he makes Testaverde play the rest of this ball game.
3rd and 1, midway through quarter number 3. Bozo provides a block, and that's going to be close. I'm not so sure they got the first down. Needed to get almost to the 24. We'll see where the spot is. Just inside the 25. It is not worthy of a measurement. Well, yes, they will bring it out.
Well, the Bears can call for the measurement to see just how shy they are, if in fact they are shy. And this sometimes will affect the play selection if the Bears want to go for it on 4th down. You saw Harbaugh quarterback sneak for a first down in the first half. That's quarterback sneak distance. But the guy that makes this play is number 52, Keith McCants, at the top of the screen. Watch him knife in and cut down the cutback lane that Anderson wanted to go to, and now he pulls him back short of the first down.
Chicago will pass on the Butler field goal. They'll go for the first down. Quarterback sneak. Move the chain. First and 10, Chicago with a 23-0 lead. Midway through quarter number 3.
That's Brad Muster. That's his right ankle, and that's why he was limping earlier. And you wonder if he'll be subjected to a fine for wearing white tape instead of black tape.
Didn't put the shoe polish on it. He's out of uniform.
Okay, I got 3 now. I got the grasp and control thing. I got the instant replay deal.
And now the uniform.
And then the uniform thing.
You're going to be real popular in the league office.
Well, let's just play the game. You know, let's play it like we played it as kids.
I totally agree. First and 10. Harbaugh rolls out, flips the ball to Muster. And that's another Chicago first and goal inside the 10 at the 9. Mark Robinson makes the tackle. Brad Muster, who said yesterday, yes, he is having his best season, and he thinks he is responsible because they're giving him the ball more, in large part for this 7-1 record.
It's amazing how well you can do when you have the ball. Really shows off. This play has been run about 4 times today, and this is the second most successful. But you wonder about Muster's ankle. It appeared that he wanted to cut back against Mark Robinson there, but that ankle wasn't strong enough for him to make that move.
60 yards on the ground for Brad Muster, and he's caught 43 yards worth of passes. And it's first and goal, Bears. Anderson cuts inside and is dragged down at the 6-yard line by Keith McCants. Total offense in this half, we were talking about ball control, 105 yards to 6. And Chicago is not showing the inclination they've had in recent weeks of settling into a lead. They're working on this one.
And they're working on the clock as well. Just under 5 minutes remaining here in the 3rd quarter. And those 6 yards that the Bucs have gained were on just 2 plays. Remember, Testaverde threw the interception.
There's an injured player apparently for Tampa Bay. No, it's Jim Covert for Chicago.
And Covert is on the sidelines, bent over, and I wonder how he's feeling, whether he's caught that flu that Hilgenberg had.
Time has been called, and we'll check on the injury or the illness right after this.
Don't worry about highways.
2nd down and goal, Chicago. We are in Tampa Stadium with the Bears leading 23-0, 4:50 to go, 3rd quarter. It was a 17-0 Chicago halftime lead. Vern Lundquist along with Dan Fouts. Time back in play. Second down from the 7. 6. Blitz is coming. The toss. A flag is down, and so is Neil Anderson. So check the infraction. Mark Robinson, number 30, makes the tackle. Jim Covert, by the way, just to bring you up to date, holding against Chicago. Covert had gone to the sidelines and was bent over, but we were also told there was a problem with Harry Hamilton of Tampa Bay, so the officials called timeout on that last play.
Holding. Number 86 to the offense. 10-yard penalty. Repeat, second down.
Penalties on Cap Bozo, the backup tight end. Well, the faithful haven't left, either for Tampa Bay or Chicago. The place is still full.
We got a pair of faithfuls here. There's Jimbo Covert. He may be drinking one of those Alka-Seltzers on the sidelines.
Second down and goal from the 16 now. 2 wide receivers to the left side. John Wojciechowski has taken Covert's place, number 73 at left tackle. He supplies one of the blocks for Brad Muster, who breaks a tackle and gets down to the 5-yard line. Urban Randall, number 54, makes the stop.
This is why the Bears made Brad Muster a number 1 pick back in '88. He's got great size and strength. Watch how he just refuses to get stopped by an arm tackle there from Eugene Marv, or Tim Newton rather. And it takes Urban Randall a bear hug to get the bear down.
I continue to marvel at one of the paradoxes of Brad Muster with a degree from Stanford. One of his hobbies, and I think all the folks in Chicago know this, is professional wrestling. His hero is Ric Flair. And I'm laughing inside because Jesse the Body Ventura is one of the color commentators for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm sure Muster's aware of that.
And Jesse, of course, was the star of our In the Grass on the NFL Today. So we got them all going.
Time has been called by Chicago because the game clock had almost evaporated. It was going to cost him a 5-yard penalty. 3:19 to go, third quarter, 23 zip-up. 3:19 to go in the third quarter, and looky there, Jesse the Body Ventura.
Yeah, he knows a little bit about control there.
He works as one of the commentators, and I'm sure he is aware that Brad Muster is a pro wrestling fan. He's also a pro football fan. Third and goal from just inside the 5. In motion, and Harbaugh drops back, looks left, fires it. Incomplete, intended for Cap Bozo, the tight end. It'll be 4th down, and Kevin Butler will come on. Well, Mike Ditka says we want ball control and sound defense. And how have they done thus far, Dan?
Well, pretty good, Vern. You know, they came into this game leading the NFL with about 35 minutes per game on the time of possession. They're well on their way to matching that and perhaps increasing their league lead.
22-yard field goal attempt out of Mike Tomczak's hold. Jerry Fontenot will snap the ball. Butler's kick is up and true.
That's the world famous Pee Wee. You know, we got Jesse the Body up in the booth. That's Pee Wee, and that is Mike Ditka's personal mascot. And this is the Pee Wee Shuffle.
Close friend of the Ditkas, right?
I guess so. I mean, you know, it amazes me that that Ditka would associate with such characters.
I want to see Pee Wee make that move in Green Bay in December.
Well, you know, Pee Wee says he was a heck of a football player. He played at Iowa between the Hilgenbergs. Actually just sat on the bench at Iowa.
And has become, as you may know, one of the characters around the Chicago Bear team. 26 zip. 3:10 to go in the third quarter. Montana with 411 yards and 3 touchdowns, including a 64-yarder to Jerry Rice. Pittsburgh comes from behind. Atlanta still can't win on the road. They are at Chicago next week. Miami goes to 7-1, and Washington in a thriller over Detroit.
And congratulations to Dan Marino playing in his 100th game. That is not easy to do as a quarterback.
Here's yet one more short kickoff taken by Danny Peoples at the 9-yard line. He's been the most potent threat that the Buccaneers have had, and this time he's spilled at the 26. 17 yards on the return. Rams continue to lead Houston. And the Chargers over Seattle up in the Kingdome. And as you predicted, Vinny Testaverde is coming back into a cascade of objectionable noises.
Well, you know, I'd say you got to get him out of there because he's not producing. He's thrown one pass here in the second half, and it was picked off by a defensive end.
2 for 13 for 13 yards and 4 interceptions. Trace Armstrong. It was right there as Testaverde got rid of it.
He just started off the game in totally out of sync, totally uncomfortable, and he hasn't done anything to get himself back in sync, and the play calling hasn't helped him gain any momentum or confidence either. You know, with those type of statistics, you are not going to turn it around, and you're not going to get your ball club back in the game. Here you went out and you traded for a guy that you wanted in Chris Chandler, and you're not putting him in the ballgame in this type of situation. I think it's a big mistake on Perkins' part.
Backs are split behind Testaverde. 4-man rush from the outside. Flag is down. The catch is made. That'll wipe out the completed pass to Reggie Cobb. Well, as we said, it's not going to get any easier for the Buccaneers. A holding on this call. They are at New Orleans, at the 49ers, and at Green Bay to round out November before they get back home.
Holding, number 69 of the offense. 10-yard penalty. Repeat, second down.
Doubleheader for you next Sunday on the NFL Today. We begin at 12:30 in our studio show. Greg Gumbel, Terry Bradshaw, Leslie Visser, and Pat O'Brien. And then doubleheader action. Most of you will see Atlanta at Chicago as the first game. Dan and I will be at Soldier Field. Phoenix plays at Buffalo, Tampa Bay at New Orleans. In game 2, the Giants go west to take on the Los Angeles Rams, who are trying to hold on and win today. The Rams against Houston. Second down and 20. Across the middle, caught by the tight end, Ron Hall. And that's a gain of 19 out to the 35, maybe the 36-yard line. Mark Carrier with a tackle.
This is where the Bucs have had a lot of success throwing the ball this year, is right down the middle to their tight end, Ron Hall. Nice out and up move, and Vinny stands strong in the pocket and throws a good ball for the first time today. But one of the problems that Perkins said has plagued his team is mental toughness, and by that he means the ability to concentrate over long periods of time in all types of adverse conditions.
3rd and 1 now for the Bucs. Up over the top, and that should be enough to give sustained life to this mini drive by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That is only the 3rd first down for Tampa in the ballgame. Number 3.
And you need 4 touchdowns to win this game. You've got a minute to go in the 3rd quarter. Go to your hurry-up offense right now. You don't have any time to waste. You haven't been able to stop the other team. Your only hope now is to outscore them. Go for it.
Either that or get Eric Bieniemy here in a hurry from Colorado. He scored 4 in the 4th yesterday. 1st and 10. Left side, that's caught. And Ron Hall surges out of a tackle and has another first down at the 50. Ron Rivera makes the stop on the tight end, a gain of 13.
And you wonder why they haven't done this earlier in the game. The key now is that the Bear pass rush has slowed down a lot, and the Bucs offensive line is giving Vinny more time to throw.
Mark Carrier up on top to help on the tackle. 1st and 10 at the 50. Testaverde now 4 of 16. We are in the final 25 seconds of quarter number 3 from Tampa Stadium in Tampa, Florida. A lot of time. Nope. He does get rid of it. And Reggie Cobb shakes a tackle. John Roper No, it was Ron Rivera who had him, and then Mike Singletary finally gets him. But that will wrap it up for quarter number 3. That's the end of the third quarter with the score. Chicago 26, Tampa Bay nothing. Well, coverage will continue after this message from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Offense, they've yet to score. 26-0 Chicago over Tampa Bay as we begin the final quarter, the first of 2 meetings this year between these two teams. And the Buccaneers, who swept the Bears last year, in dire straits now, trailing by 26, and they have a second down at their own 44-yard line. Second down and 6. I beg your pardon, they are second down and 4 at the Bear 44. Backs in the eye. Flag is down. Gary Anderson comes to the near side, and Ron Rivera, after Jim Morrissey had gotten low, makes the tackle. Now we'll check the flag. Offside, Chicago.
Yeah, that flag was thrown as soon as the ball was snapped. That means that we didn't see anybody move. Obviously, somebody
Offside.
in the neutral zone.
Number 93 of the defense. 5 yards penalty. First down.
Trace Armstrong, second-year man from Florida. We are high atop Tampa Stadium, but not quite as high as the MetLife blimp. That's a view of the press box and the broadcast booth with the sign Tampa Stadium on it. And a view from overhead of this sellout crowd, 74,000 on hand. The Bucs have drawn well in 1990. They usually do sell out this Chicago game. Testaverde, deep right side, man wide open, Bruce Perkins. And the free agent running back has a first and goal, Tampa Bay, inside the 10 at the 6-yard line. That's only his 5th catch of the year, and it's good for a gain of 34.
Well, you get Perkins as the fullback on the right side here. He goes out right now, and this is a go pattern. Vinny does a nice job of looking off the secondary and throwing a good pass here, and Perkins gets real close to getting in the end zone.
Bruce Perkins, the nephew of a former Cowboy great running back, Don Perkins, back in the 60s. And early 70s, Don still lives in New Mexico.
Some good genes there. He was a great player for the Cowboys.
First and goal from the 5 officially. Testaverde, they'll try it again. Perkins, touchdown. His second touchdown catch of 1990. So the goose egg is erased.
Well, that's exactly what Tampa Bay needed, was to score and score in a hurry. Testaverde comes out right away. It's a hot receiver principle to his fullback. Perkins now will outrace Stinson to the corner, and Stinson, it was not his man. He was following the wide receiver down inside there. And finally, the Bucs get on the board.
Bruce Perkins, who played collegiately, and Mark Royals as the problems continue. Perkins makes the 5-yard touchdown grab. It's 26-6 with 14:10 to go. Bring you a game summary, but we thought at the midpoint of the season it might be interesting to look at a playoff summary. The 49ers and Giants remain undefeated. Amazingly, there are only 4 teams in the NFC who are over 500. The Eagles and Bucs at 4-4, and 4 teams at 3-5. So it's a wide open playoff picture. Chicago's perspective is kind of interesting because there's an onside kick tried by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and it is recovered by Chicago at the 46-yard line. But the interesting thing from a Bear perspective is that if the playoffs were held right now under the new playoff format, they would be required to play an extra game day, and they would play the wild card team with the worst record.
Well, but remember that the 49ers and the Giants will meet in December, so one of those teams will probably come out of there with a loss. And I'm so impressed by the way that Chicago continues to play well. We saw that the 49ers struggled today against the Packers, but the Bears, they seem to be on a roll, a real mission, as they have all year.
And right now they have a 20-point edge at 26-6. Mike Tomczak has replaced Jim Harbaugh at quarterback, and he is sacked on the first play. Mike Tomczak, who lost the starting job, Jim Harbaugh, with an ice pack on that right shoulder.
Well, he hurt his shoulder last week against the Cardinals. I asked him about the extent of that injury earlier this week, and he says it's the AC joint where the collarbone meets the shoulder socket, and he doesn't think it's very serious. And this is not that unusual to see a quarterback after a game with ice on his shoulder. Believe me, I had it on a lot more parts of my body than just my shoulder.
For the season, Mike Tomczak with 115 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. Harbaugh's day complete with 214 yards throwing the ball, 14 of 23. Second down and long. Tomczak pumps off his back foot, throws it out of bounds.
Boy, rough start for Tomczak. They shove him in the game there to mop up. He gets sacked on his first play, and then his second play, he's chased out of the pocket and has to throw it away.
There also was a flag on the play.
Illegal contact. Number 42 of the defense. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Penalty is called on Eric Everett, one of the Plan B acquisitions by Tampa Bay. He had played formerly with the Philadelphia Eagles.
Chargers are an interesting team this year. They either seem to win by big scores or lose by big scores. They beat Tampa last week 41-10. And now they're routing the Seahawks in a tough place to play, that Kingdome in Seattle.
New life for the Bears, 1st and 10 from the Tampa Bay 45-yard line. Backs in the eye. Anderson barges over left guard down to the 40-yard line, and John Cannon, number 678, makes the tackle. Keith McCants, the number 1 pick. Anderson with 55 yards now on 15 carries.
And if you take away the 2 fumbles by Harbaugh and the 1 fumble by Wendell Davis earlier in this game, you notice this guy, number 35, he hasn't fumbled, and Muster hasn't fumbled. And these are the guys that are going to be having the ball in their hands as Chicago tries to run this clock out.
Second down and 4. The clock showing 12:46 remaining right now. That's short of the first down at the 36-yard line. Right now, let's see what happened in the way of big plays around the NFL. Back to our New York studios. Here's Greg Gumbel.
Well, Vern, it was another big day for Joe Montana and Jerry Rice. With this pitch and catch, Montana moved to number 5 all-time in passing yardage. There's the kind of day Jerry Rice had as the 49ers beat the Packers and went to 8-0. Next week, they visit the Dallas Cowboys, Vern.
All right, Greg, it's 26-6 here as Chicago tries to stay 1 game behind both the 49ers and the Giants. Mike Ditka says this team is a much, much closer and looser bunch than the team that won the World Championship in 1985. 3rd and 1. Brad Muster. Look at him bounce off tackles. Another big gain for the fullback from Stanford. Broderick Thomas makes the tackle.
Well, this is fullback football right now. Watch Muster get through the hole, and he's going to flatten one of those little defensive backs right there. That's Mark Robinson, number 30. And he gets the big shoulder from Muster, and Muster gets the first down.
Muster, who had off-season back surgery, and it continues to pain him. But he's having his second big game in as many weeks, 79 yards right now. 1st and 10, Bears. Anderson to the 28. Well, as we told you earlier, the Bears are in the midst of a road trip that sees them play 4 of 5 on the road. They do get back home next week against Atlanta. And then on the 18th, a big game at Denver. On the 25th, what looked like a big game when the season started, at Minnesota, then at home against Detroit, and at December 9th there at Washington.
And Washington, of these 5 teams, the only team with a winning record there, which may say something for parity. I'm not sure. I think I agree with Terry Bradshaw. You can have parity if it means less than 500 football.
Second down and 8. 26-6 is the score. 10:15 to go in the ball game. Tomczak. That's in the grasp.
But is it in the control? McCants got in there, and he got Tomczak's left foot, and that stopped him right there. This is McCants' first sack of his NFL career. And he gets a little help from the official. But there is control right there. That's a good call, because if there was somebody coming from Tampa Bay, he could have really cleaned up on Tomczak. And going back to why they put the rule in to begin with, that's why, to cut down on quarterback injuries.
Sacks today by Tampa Bay. They have 5 for 36 yards. Chicago, none, but the difference is a 26-6 score. 3rd and 17. Tomczak settles for the short receiver, Wendell Davis, and he makes the grab at the 22, but that will be short of the first down and should bring the reappearance of Kevin Butler. Wayne Haddix with the tackle. Haddix, another Plan B acquisition. He is tied for the league lead in interceptions coming into the game with 5. And Jim Harbaugh looks on.
And Haddix and Wendell Davis, they look like the wheelbarrow race at the county fair there, didn't they?
Tomczak stays on to hold. Jerry Fontenot will center. 2 of 3 today for Kevin Butler. This one from 40 yards out. Blocked. Rolling inside the 5. James Coley downs it at the 1-yard line. Doesn't seem to bother Mike Ditka, though. His team comfortably in front by 20 with 8 minutes and 49 seconds to go. 8:49 to go in the game. Chicago up by 20. Tampa Bay streaking in a positive way now. Vinny Testaverde, after missing 11 in a row, has hit his last 5. Flag is down. Testaverde, nice pass on the left side. Mark Carrier. Now we'll see if the play stands.
Yeah, I think it will, because the Bears appeared to jump on the hard count from Testaverde. Bears losing a little bit of concentration on defense.
Here is Dale Hamer, who will explain it. Looks like Tampa Bay's got the option of keeping the play, which they will do.
Offside. Defense, number 76. The penalty will be declined. The pass was complete. First down.
So that's a gain of 6 for, rather a gain of 14 and 6 in a row for Vinny Testaverde.
Their last drive covered 70 yards, but it took 4 minutes. They've got 8 minutes and 30 seconds or so to go right now. They've got to speed it up a little bit.
Back split on first down and 10. Stunts by the line. McMichael is coming, and we'll see who gets credit for the sack. It's the first one today. That is Steve McMichael, number 76. And it appeared he got there first.
And he dinged himself a little bit, that left shoulder or left arm. Take a look at it from ground level. Perry is in there as well. McMichael coming all the way around, and he runs into the fridge. That's enough to ding you. My goodness. And look at the fridge. He knows he hit somebody.
Yeah, but it was a guy dressed in blue. Second down and 17. First sack for the Bears defense. Dan Hampton comes in for McMichael, and Hampton just misses Bruce Perkins. Perkins is knocked out of bounds at the 32-yard line by Mark Carrier. Right now, let's go back to our New York studios and check in once again with Greg Gumbel.
Well, Vern, in the nation's capital tonight, you know the hero is backup quarterback Jeff Rutledge, who came on with the Redskins trailing 35-14 and rallied them with 362 yards passing, and that touchdown run that sent the game to overtime, where the Redskins won it by 3, 41-38. Vern?
And oh, what memories, Dan, for Jeff Rutledge that he can tell his kids about years from now, huh?
And maybe a 3-way quarterback controversy in the Capitol. How about that?
Testaverde being chased over to the right. Fires it to a wide open Mark Carrier, and Carrier is out of bounds at the 38-yard line. That was a fine pass by that man.
But with the new rule, the clock will start rolling once the ball is placed ready for play. Now, the Buccaneers should be in their hurry-up offense right now, and yet they're wasting time going back to the huddle, calling the play in the huddle, and they're not going to get back in this game. They don't have no chance of winning this game if they don't go to the hurry-up offense now.
It would be an improbable victory or improbable comeback for Ray Perkins' team, but they don't seem bent on it right now. Taking things somewhat casually. You saw the clock start. It will not stop on an out-of-bounds play until they get under 5 minutes, and then they revert to the old rules. Testaverde scrambling again. Pulls up.
Is it casually or is it stubbornly? I got to believe it's Perkins being very stubborn in not going to his hurry-up offense here. You know, his team is playing well right now. They have scored on their last possession. Testaverde is throwing like a brand new man all of a sudden. But his coach isn't putting him in a position right now to win this game. The Bears may be slowing down a little bit, getting a little winded on defense.
And on second down, here comes Tampa Bay. The clock showing 6:18 and running. Blitz is coming from the Bears. Hot receiver. The ball is tipped back. Intercepted again, this time by Ron Rivera. Rivera with his first interception of 1990. Picked it and then picked it off.
Really an outstanding play by Rivera. He watches Testaverde's eyes, and he does like Richard Dent did earlier. Gets up in the air, knocks the ball straight up with his left hand, juggles it, bounces it over Testaverde's head, and gets tackled by Morrissey. We're seeing outstanding athletic plays by the Bears defense. Dent and now Rivera.
5 interceptions for Testaverde this afternoon. He had 4 for the season coming in. So the total is 9.
And they're reviewing this play. Now, are they checking to see if he got both feet in? I'm confused, totally.
You're confused, and I'm getting amused. Let's look at it again.
Well, that's the ball up in the air. He's got one foot in. He's got the other foot in. What are they looking at? Where the ball went? It's in his hands. His right hand. He gets his butt down inside. Let's give it to him, boys.
After further review, the play stands. Intercepted pass. First down.
Oh, boy.
I was afraid they were going to reverse it. I really was.
You're kidding. The play will stand. 1st and 10. 5 interceptions on Testaverde. Handoff. They'll work on the clock now. Anderson to the 46-yard. No, it's Mark Green, who's been on injured reserve for the last 4 weeks, just activated. And the second-year man from Notre Dame carries the ball for the first time this afternoon. Mark Green, number 31.
And they got James Rouse in as well, and Tom Zach.
Wojciechowski, Kurt Becker up front.
Cap Boso. So this is a real good opportunity for the Bears to rest their regulars and get some guys some needed experience.
Second down and 9. Ball game. Tom Zach rolls right. There was a mix-up, and he goes deep. Incomplete. Dennis Gentry was the intended receiver, and his counterpart, number 29, Ricky Reynolds, was defending. Right now, let's check in on how Randall Cunningham did today. Here's Greg.
Well, Vern, I'd say he did okay. 4 touchdown passes, throwing 124 yards rushing, including this one for 53 yards. And for the first time all season, the Eagles are at the 500 mark at 4-4, 48-20 over New England. Vern?
Yeah, Randall had the 6-shooters working.
Well, and he threw the ball in the crowd. You know, he makes, what, $2 million a year. The fine for that, throwing the ball in the stands, is $1,000. I mean, I think he can afford it, right? I think they're going to have to raise that fine if they don't want the players doing that.
3rd and 9 out of the shotgun. Here's Tom Zach looking right side all the way into double coverage, and the catch is in. The catch is not made. It was bobbled. So that'll bring up 4th down, and the punting unit will come on. Punting unit comes on, and part of the 74,000 head out.
A lot of orange shirts are leaving, aren't there?
Mm-hmm.
Those black or those navy blue shirts are staying.
Chicago will go to 7-1 and a 3.5 game edge over Tampa Bay in the division. Willie Drury is back to return the punt. This is only the second punt for Maury Buford this afternoon. Taken on one hop by Drury. And he's knocked out of bounds. Johnny Bailey made the tackle, number 22. 5:02 remaining in the ball game. The exits are filling up. 26-6. Chicago leads it by 20. 60 Minutes. Saddam Hussein's best-kept atomic secret is a uranium mine hidden away inside a mountain. But you know 60 Minutes can't keep a secret. They'll show it to you tonight. Following 60 Minutes is Murder, She Wrote, and the CBS Sunday movie, 83 Hours Till Dawn. That's all tonight on CBS. And that may be how the Buccaneers feel after this game. 1st and 10, Tampa Bay. Testaverde with 5 interceptions this afternoon. And Trace Armstrong has him sacked inside the 5-yard line. Armstrong with 7 sacks now to lead the Bears in 1990.
Well, we may have the real definition of grasp and control here, and a real classy play by Trace Armstrong. He chases Testaverde down, gets his right hand on him, now his left hand, and he could have helicoptered him now to the ground, and yet he hears the whistle. The referee makes the call, and we finally have a clear-cut definition of what that rule is all about.
Armstrong leads the Bears, had a dry spell for a couple of weeks, picked up one last week and another today. Young man who was born and raised in Birmingham, went to school at Arizona State for 3 years, and then transferred to Florida to finish out his collegiate career. Handoff up the middle. Gary Anderson is tackled by Mark Carrier, number 20. It was Carrier, the rookie from USC, who has his name counterpart playing for Tampa Bay. Mark Carrier, number 20 for Chicago, said he would meet Mark Carrier of the Bucs before the game. They have a cousin in common named Chris Carrier from LSU. And Mark Carrier told us, take your pick, either one, that they would discuss the family tree.
Yeah, this is John Mark Carrier for the Bucs and Mark Anthony Carrier for the Bears. I kind of like that Roman name there.
3rd and long. And that catch is made by Mark Carrier.
And you know, when Mark Carrier and Mark Carrier get together after the game, that the Bears Carrier is going to have a little bit more to say, or at least be in a more talkative mood as they discuss that family tree.
It was that Mark Carrier who told us yesterday that he knows one of the reasons for the success of the Bears. He's acquired a new mascot.
Yeah, he has a 10-month-old English bulldog by the name of Archie Ditka. I swear the dog has 2 names. Started with just Ditka, but then his teammates said, no, you better add Archie to that.
On 4th down, Testaverde, it's dropped by Anderson.
It's kind of a fitting way for this one to end for their offense.
And while the Bears reacquire possession of the football, we'll go back to our New York studios once again. Here's Greg.
Well, Vern, the race in the AFC West is a little tighter thanks to the defense the Chiefs put on the LA Raiders. Their 5th block punt of the year led to one of 3 Nick Lowry field goals. That's all the Chiefs needed. They beat the Raiders 9-7. They are within 1 game of the top in the AFC West. Let's go back to Vern and Dan.
All right, Greg, we've got 3:02 remaining in this ball game. 26-6. The Bears comfortably have this one in the win column. 7-1 as they head back home after 2 weeks on the road to take on Jerry Glanville and the Atlanta Falcons next week. Mark Green gets the inside handoff, and he's down at the 30-yard line. This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League, and this CBS telecast is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of CBS, the Buccaneers, and the National Football League is prohibited. Final 2:35 remaining in the ball game for Tampa. Last home game in November. They're on the road. Ray Perkins in the 4th year of a 5-year contract, and Hugh Culverhouse said on Wednesday of this week he will be back as the head coach in 1990. I want to put an end to all speculation about his future with the Buccaneers. The pitch to the left side. Johnny Bailey, the rookie from Texas A&I, 9th-round draft choice. And he's got a Chicago first down at the 22-yard line.
And you wonder if what Mr. Culverhouse said was a vote of confidence. And you know about those old votes of confidence.
We have reached the 2-minute warning as Bailey heads to the sidelines. A first down Chicago time has been called. And the Bears are rolling 26-6. Tampa Stadium in Tampa, Florida, 26-6 Chicago in the first of 2 meetings between these two teams this year. They don't meet again until December at Soldier Field. Well, interesting, in their 6 wins prior to today, you talk about, as you look at the Tampa Bay bunch, the Bears averaged 63 yards per game in their 6 wins. And today they've run 66 plays on offense, so they're right at their average in ball control. On a first down and 10, that's the 67th play. And just to contrast that, Dan, the one loss they had to the Raiders, they had the ball for only 37 plays in that game. So go back to the beginning of what you said at the top of the program. Ditka says ball control, sound defense, and consistent play from Jim Harbaugh.
And the sound defense shows up in the number of turnovers. Of course, Testaverde had a terrible day, but the Bears were responsible for a number of those turnovers. And remember back in that first quarter when the Bears kept getting great field position, they finally took advantage of it and put points on the board. And
a nice touch by Mike Ditka, his rookie third-round quarterback, Peter Tom Willis from Florida State, getting to play for the first time this year. He'll probably do nothing more than hand it off, but he is in the ballgame. And he does to James Rouse, who is down at the 19-yard line.
That's a wonderful feeling for a young quarterback, especially when it's back in your home state. PT, of course, played at Florida State. And, you know, just a chance to get out there and feel the grass and get in that huddle and rub elbows with all those sweaty bodies out there. He's gonna remember this for a long, long time. He's even borrowed one of Harbaugh's chin straps. See, he's got one of those crash helmet chin straps on. He's ready for anything.
See if he works the jaw like Jim Harbaugh does.
Nobody works the jaw like Harbaugh.
Could be the final play of the ball game in the 7th win of the season for the Chicago Bears. And the Bucs will fall to 4-5. Johnny Bailey, elusive Johnny Bailey, down inside the 15 to the 13-yard line. That'll do it. Ray Perkins' team falls to 4-5. They have lost 3 of their last 4 ball games, and the last 3 in a row. (26-6) the final. Neil Anderson with a handshake for Ray Perkins. Chicago wins it. They go to 7-1. Coming up next, our post-game show with Greg Gumbel. Our final score, 26-6. Chicago wins it.
Coming up on primetime, we've got our eyes peeled on Week 9, where the champs had their hands full with the Packers. Just like the old days, the Chiefs and Raiders renewed hostilities. A year after a heartbreaking playoff loss to Cleveland, the Bills return to the scene of the crime. How big a deficit is too big to overcome? Ask Washington's most unlikely hero. You want long punt returns? We've got the longest. The Bengals came home, but had their tails grabbed by the Saints. We'll tell the tale of Week 9 coming up. Yeah.